I'm Mick Ronson, and I'm here to collect the award for Mick Ronson, to use it for the documentary that we're doing about Mick and his life and times, and you have a great time. We're looking forward to it.
Well, Mick was one of those guys that we all knew, as a great guitar player, and never got to the point where he got to be in that magical, back page. He would have been, though. If he would have stayed alive, he would have been one of those guys. Everybody that's into any kind of glam rock, anybody that's in any of that kind of rock, worships Mick Ronson.
Did you know Mick Ronson?
Of course.
You did?
Yes.
What are your thoughts about Mick Ronson?
Well, I think it's a shame we don't have him anymore.
Absolutely.
I think that's the worst part of it. Always when anyone that you respect and love and who has created things like that, when they're gone, there's a big hole in the sky somewhere. But, like all great people, we remember them for the things they left us. So.
Like we remember you, and you're still
I'm
alive.
still here, though. I think.
What have you got to say about Nick?
Say?
What have you got to say about Nick?
Oh God! Well, have you got 3 weeks? I don't want to blow it all because I've got a speech to make tonight, which, in fairness, I haven't written. I wanted to try and be spontaneous, and I hope that it works because that's how Mick was. Mick didn't spend forever working things out. He just was Mick, and he was my favourite guitar player, and probably always will be.
I wrote a song in '94, and in the song, the gist of it is sort of all the best things I would like to be, from being, all the things I've experienced in my life, and like Cirque du Soleil. I want to be that guy, and I want to be, I was talking about sports figures, and when it came down to musicians in the song, I named Mick Ronson. I want to play guitar like Mick Ronson. So.
That's really hard to precisely into a couple of quick words in a noisy room. I view my life as before and after. And his wife's here tonight and his daughter's here tonight.
Yes,
it's not going to be much fun, that bit, to be honest with you.
Well, I've never really had the pleasure to meet Mick, but he is definitely a huge influence because I grew up idolizing David Bowie and all those records, and and what a classic guitar sound. He has such a warm, ambient, sort of a analog sound that's just very special, and you don't hear that many people with such a sweet tone. So yeah, he's been definitely a big influence.
You can't not, because you listen to the records that he made, and everybody tries to copy his playing. I mean, I think that Joe Perry from Aerosmith, there's some Mick Ronson there, Slash. A lot of the newer generation guitar players go back to that type of rock and roll. Definitely an influence on everybody.
I mean, once or twice in David's band in the 70s, and he seemed that he had a unique style. But that's what makes most people popular or stick out. There's a certain unique style about people, and he had that.
Well, I love Mick. I got to know him pretty well because I compared the first Ziggy Stardust tour, and I'd known David for 4 or 5 years, even prior to that. But I always thought, that Mick was the bedrock of the Spiders from Mars. That he was the sound, really. I genuinely think, that the success of those first few albums were based on Mick's arrangements, on his production skills, and on his guitar playing.
Back then, it was kind of a music fraternity. And everybody listened to everybody's records and went, uh-oh, we got to do something different now. We just heard their record and they heard our record. It was more fun. On a level, the fact that we were all buddies, and respected each other's music. But, Mick was one of those guys, I always used to say, hey, listen, if you ever get tired of him, come on over and be in my band,
You're talking about 17 years with Mick.
Did you love him?
Well, his mum told me I was his best mate. We never talked like that. We never spoke like that. I once said to him, I'd be there for you if anything went wrong. And he said, don't be daft. He's northern, But I was there for him.
He was a lovely guy.
And?
He was from Yorkshire. Come on.
He's a bloody northerner.
He's a northerner. He was a great guitar player. He was the best foil I think anybody could ever wish for. Bowie would tell you that, and no doubt Ian Hunter would tell you that. He was the best. For me, he was the best.